And now, Signature Dish, a WETA original series.
Today on Signature Dish, bakers take center stage.
We'll get a masterclass in artisanal bread baking from a DC legend.
Well, yours is already a lot prettier than mine.
Okay, well, we'll do it again.
Explore the world of fusion
We're
pastries.
going to put more sugar on.
More sugar. You say it's not going to be too sweet. I
It's not
trust
going to
you.
be too sweet.
And savor a flatbread that's been a favorite through the ages.
We're making manusha. It's iconic in the Middle East.
All right.
Not bad.
It's just delicious. I'm Seth Tillman, WETA producer and DC native, and I love good food. That's why I'm traveling to restaurants across the DMV. At each stop, looking for the one thing you just gotta try. That signature dish.
We're starting off in the Van Ness neighborhood to visit Bread First, founded by a towering figure in the DC culinary landscape.
I never expected to be a baker. I expected to be in politics. That was my great interest. And when I got out of college, I came immediately to Washington because it was the beginning of the Kennedy administration.
After landing a gig with famed TV news commentator Howard K. Smith, Mark joined the Kennedy administration's anti-poverty crusade in Appalachia.
And that was a very exciting time. I traveled the country learning about poverty, documenting poverty, and then the president was killed, and my life changed.
After 2 decades of social services jobs, Mark helped take over a copper tubing factory in Reading, Pennsylvania.
I would stand there and watch this tubing come off the finishing lines. And it was like jewelry. And I learned that making something gave me a pleasure that I had never had before.
Just shy of his 50th birthday, Mark turned his attention to baking bread. First, interning with famed California baker Nancy Silverton, before opening Marvelous Market on Connecticut Avenue in 1990. The hugely influential bakery had constant lines out the door, and famously a cap of 2 loaves of bread per customer.
We're talking about the late 80s and early 90s, and Americans really were not eating traditional European bread. And so when Marvelous Market opened, people realized it was different from the bread that was available elsewhere in Washington.
Following his success with Marvelous Market, Mark ran the downtown sandwich shop Breadline for over a decade. After some time out of the business, Mark cemented his legacy by opening Bread First in 2014 at the age of 75.
I do think I've made a contribution to the way people eat in Washington. My getting interested in making bread started in the late 80s. The late 80s was the beginning of a transformation in American food. I didn't make the transformation, but there was a great deal of interest in learning about food from other cultures. So I think I came along at the right time. I've been aware in my 35-year baking career that what I am doing is making the bread of the ages. It's the bread of the Bible, the most elementary food, the most basic food. It is still, for me, a connection with that food of the ages.
Mark,
Hi.
pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, too.
So what are you making in the Bread First kitchen today?
We're making a ham and cheese sandwich that we call the jambon beurre. But of course, it starts with the baguette, which is our signature bread. And you and I will shape it.
Oh, I get to be part of this
Oh, yes, you
operation?
do. We're going to put just a little bit of flour on the bench. This is made from what we call a yeasted pouliche. You're going to turn it over like this and pull it out so that it's more or less even. Pat it down a little bit. And then we're going to turn a piece of the dough over, push it down, and then we're going to turn the other side and push it down, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can use your fingers or you can use the side of your hand. We're folding the dough and evening the dough a lot so that the baguette will be even and pretty.
Well, yours is already a lot prettier than mine.
Okay, we'll do it again. So now we're ready to fold the top onto the bottom. And
Push.
again, push it down like that. So we'll do it one more time. If you just take a little bit of flour and put it on your hands like that.
All right. It's gonna be on my hands and probably on my shirt by the time that we're all done.
Probably. That's why we wear aprons. And now you turn it over and you bang it down, closing up the dough. Now we have the top. Yours is not quite
Quite
closed.
sealed up yet.
We'll close it like that.
Thank you, sir.
And now we'll roll it gently, adding a little bit of additional pressure as we reach the ends. Then turn it over again. And this time, you'll add a lot of pressure in order to make the ends come together in a tiny
You want that little nub right on the end of the baguette.
Yes. Okay, now that's good. We'll do it again.
This is a shape that, to me, approximates a baguette.
It does. And then we put it on what we call the couche. You want to do another one?
Let's do one more. Why not?
Add it down. So I'm going to pull this over like that, and I'm going to cover it so that it doesn't dry, and we're going to allow it to proof. I'm going to take these to the loader where Tricia, one of our crack baking staff, is scoring baguettes.
Hi, Trisha.
Hi.
When she bakes the bread, she will inject steam into the oven, and the steam softens the surface of the baguettes. It also defers the forming of a crust until the baguette is fully expanded.
And Trisha, what does this scoring do as well?
As the bread bakes, the scoring allows it to rise without causing any cracks, because if there is nowhere for the dough to move, then it's just going to rip.
All right, so how do these baguettes get into this incredible oven over here?
Well, I'm going to push this loader through.
Knocks the window down.
As I pull back, the baguettes will fall onto the deck oven. Then I'm going to close the door, hit these two buttons.
Steam. Hear it?
Ooh, I hear it and I feel it.
Yes. All right, Seth, now we're going to load the next 10 so that they bake evenly.
So, so Mark, what kind of a team have you trained up here?
A very good one. It's been common in smaller bakeries and smaller food establishments for there to be a lot of turnover. We don't really have a lot of turnover, which is wonderful.
And how many baguettes are you making in a typical week here?
On a bad day, we make maybe 600 baguettes. On a busy day, we make essentially 800. We don't make our baguettes in a machine. We make them all by hand.
It's an artisan product. You need
It is an
artisans
artisan product.
to do the work.
So now I'm going to move this loader
Oh,
down
watch
this
out.
way, and I'm going to load in this side. Close the door. I'm going to hit the start button. It'll steam it again and start the timer for us. So these bake for 25 minutes, and then when there's 8 minutes left, I will rotate the baguettes. Once those last 8 minutes are done, I'll take them out and put them on the rack to cool.
We've done our baking. Tricia did a great job.
She sure did.
And this is one that you made, and you could have it to take home.
Not quite ready for prime time
Not
just yet?
quite ready.
All right, no, I'll take that for later.
All I'm going to do is cut into the baguette, right down the center.
Oh, wow.
I hope you can see all these wonderful irregular holes. So then I'm going to take softened butter. I'm not being stingy, but I'm not overdoing it.
There's never any overdoing it when it comes to butter, right?
Not if it's good butter. There's no point in using an ingredient that's anything less than wonderful. We want to have a little bit of mustard, not too much, that's all.
Just a smidgen.
Just a smidgen. When I use the ham, we keep piling up the ham, and then I take some Gruyere cheese, and I go right down the center,
Right down Broadway.
right down Broadway. And that's it. That's all there is to this sandwich. Ham, cheese, butter,
And of course, a great baguette.
and of course, a great baguette. We cut it in fourths. Here, you should try this. The bread is so important. I remember when I first had this, I was in Paris, and I thought, there's nothing on this. And then I tasted it.
Well, all I can say to that is c'est magnifique. Perfect execution all the way down the line. It's a nice dark crust that this baguette has.
The idea is for you to be able to bite through it and feel the crust of the baguette kind of collapsing.
Well, this has been terrific.
No, we have one more thing to do.
One more thing.
We have a signature cap. It's one that started when my son had his first State Department posting in Sri Lanka. And he took me to a store and I discovered these caps. And I want to give one to you, our Sri Lankan caps, which are something of an emblem.
Is this for all my hard work today?
This is
in
all
the-
for all your hard work today and your kindness to us.
Well, I am truly honored. It's been a pleasure to watch you and your team at work, and I can't wait to come back for another next level ham and cheese sandwich. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
My next visit is just a metro stop away in Tenleytown. Here you'll find Saku Saku Flakery, the second outpost and now flagship home of the acclaimed pastry shop.
I'm from Kobe, Japan. Kobe is known for Kobe beef, but also very famous for pastries. A lot of varieties of French baked goods, but also Japanese baked goods. I moved here 7 years ago, and I couldn't find Japanese and French twist baked goods, so I thought I can make it happen.
Along with her husband Jason, Yuri opened the first Saku Saku in Cleveland Park at the height of the pandemic in 2020. The Tenleytown location followed 2 years later.
Saku Saku is Japanese onomatopoeia, which means flaky. Flakery was just sort of like a portmanteau of flaky bakeries. The inspiration is just trying to keep as much of a fusion sensibility as we can. She never wanted to be entirely French or entirely Japanese, so even the drinks that we have is something that is reminiscent of both cultures, but also new and something that hopefully people will appreciate.
What I love about baking is it's different every day. With the temperature, with the humidity outside, on top of that, we have to bake it perfectly. So it's a long journey to make everyone happy. When people respond that people love it, that makes my day.
To get the full bake shop experience, I'm heading to Saku Saku in the wee hours of the morning.
Yuri,
Hi,
Jason.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess being a baker, you gotta wake up pretty early.
Absolutely, but we've got you covered. We have our famous Saku Saku coffee jelly cold brew.
Oh man, a cold brew is gonna hit the spot. What are you guys making today?
We're making Queen Amman.
Queen Amman. I can't say I know what that is.
Queen Amman is from Brittany region of France and very popular in Japan.
Yudi's got amazing ideas, and she's going to put her own Japanese spin on it.
Why don't you follow me back and I'll show you.
Oh, that sounds great. Let's do it. All right, and what is this monster of a contraption right here?
This is a sheeter for lamination, and we're going to put this dough under the sheeter and then put the butter in.
Before I even arrived, Yuri mixed the dough for the croissant-like Queen Amman, adding in Japanese matcha tea powder. After the dough is mixed, it's kneaded and left to chill.
So right now we're stretching the dough in order to put the butter in the dough.
So every time you're just making it a little bit smaller?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this is the butter sheet, so I'm going to put this in the middle of the dough. Now I'm folding the dough in order to lock in the butter.
Making a little butter pocket.
Yeah. I'm going to cut the side. This will help stretch the dough evenly. Ready to go back under the sheeter?
This is just kind of a fun machine.
Yeah. All right. This is the length I was looking for. And then we're putting sugar between the layer so it will get extra crunchy.
Ooh, I like crunch. So this is sugar that looks like maybe it has some more matcha powder in it?
Yes,
All right.
to make extra flavor. You can see.
Oh yeah, already seeing the matcha and the
Yes.
butter together.
I'm going to put the sugar one more time.
So is this gonna be a really sweet pastry?
It's a little bit sweet, but I would say it's not too sweet because we put matcha in it, so it's nice balance.
It's gonna be just right.
I think so. It says this is the final dough. We're going to transfer to the table and cut it.
This is such an unexpected and unusual color. And I like that we have a ruler here too, because with baking, you just have to be super exact,
Yes.
right?
Everything has to be precisely done, and the layer has to be nice and clear. I'm going to bring up this bicycle cutter.
Quite the cool medieval contraption.
So I'm going to mark it this way in order to cut it evenly. We're going to cut it to make it into a perfect square. Let me show you how small the layers are. Between the matcha dough, you can see that each of layers of the butter. So I'm going to add more sugar for the bottom of the pan.
And you say it's not gonna be too sweet. I
It's not
trust
going to
you.
be too sweet. So we're going to set this on the muffin pan. We're going to add mochi on the bottom of the kouign-amann. The mochi is nice and soft, so when you bite into it, you get crunch, but also softness. We're going to put these cups into a mochi.
You get to do a little smush to make the shapes?
Yes.
Baking just seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah. We're going to shape the rest of the kouign-amann. And then once they're approved, we're going to put in the oven for 20 minutes. So once it comes out, we let them cool. And then we add red bean paste and red bean cream. To finish the pastry, we will dust the matcha powder on top.
All right, Yuri, that was quite the journey. How do I dig into this?
Let me cut in half so you don't get all the creams on your nose.
I'll see how much I can get in one bite without making a huge mess.
Sure.
Here
Go
goes.
for it.
A flaky mess all over the table. But that is just a heavenly pastry. A wonderful crunch on the outside. In the middle, such a nice creaminess. And for me personally, my favorite restaurant when I was a kid was a Japanese restaurant about a half-mile up Wisconsin Avenue. And my favorite thing to get every time was the red bean ice cream. So red bean has a special place in my heart. And it's not too sweet. And Jason, besides the mess on the table, I see we have a few more Saku Saku original beverages.
Yes, this is a raspberry hibiscus tea, and then our yuzu lemonade with a nice matcha kicker on top.
We got matcha everywhere today.
Yes, indeed. In Japanese culture, seasonality is very important. There's a great appreciation for nature, so we try to echo that in a lot of our offerings.
And the fillings, I'm guessing some of these change with the seasons a little bit too?
Right now we have matcha and mochi red bean, but we do fig and brie or the pumpkin cream filling for fall, so it's very seasonal.
So I'll come back for the pumpkin spice season too. And so Yuri, for you, how did you know the time was right to strike out on your own with this wonderful concept?
I think there's no time, like really a time for you to start. I just jumped in because I trusted myself that I can bring all the Japanese traditional flavors to people who live here. We have a lot of cherry blossom trees in the city. That made me think that maybe this is the right place.
Proof is right here. I'm so glad you brought these Japanese flavors to DC. This made waking up early worth it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My last stop takes me to Rockville, Maryland. In the Woodley Gardens Shopping Center just off I-270, you'll find Z&Z Manusha Bakery.
So manusha is an iconic flatbread in the Middle East, and the root of the word comes from the Arabic word to carve or to sculpt. So that's because we're kind of making these little pockets for flavor. The most traditional topic is this really famous herb blend called za'atar, and then it's mixed with olive oil, of course. There's many other topics. There's varieties that come with cheese, different meat versions.
We grew up in Rockville, Maryland. We've been around this area our whole life. So we started Z&Z in 2016 outside of Foggy Bottom Farmers Market. We'd often hear people walking by, oh, is that pizza? Thankfully, everyone came around and became interested in what we were doing and then became to know Minusha as a Minusha and not as a pizza. It was our pleasure to be able to bring them into our culture.
For Johnny and Danny, family is everything, including opening up Z&Z in the same location where their grandfather and uncle ran a restaurant for over 20 years.
So we have me, my brother. Our brother in New Jersey is also helping out. My sister is here almost all the time with us, and my dad and my mom.
Our dad, Isa, has become a little bit of a social media star. When they come in, they're like, oh my God, that's him. And he's always kind of begrudgingly joining these videos, but I think that's part of the charm, and I think he secretly loves it.
Oh, I forgot, I'm mother tongue.
Our parents have been the inspiration in handing down these traditions for not only the food, but then also for the hospitality that we grew up in. And seeing how they treated guests when they came to our house, and that's the same goal we have for everyone who walks through these doors.
Danny, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, welcome.
Looks like we're gonna be stretching some dough out here today. What are you making?
Yeah, that's right, we're making Minusha, but today we're gonna be making specifically our signature dish, which is called the Lebanese bride. So we're gonna stretch the dough.
You're gonna teach me how to do this today?
I'm gonna try. So we use a special blend of white and wheat flours fermented for up to 48 to 72 hours. So now you use your fingers and you're kind of creating these little like pockets of dough.
Okay.
And so from here, you can see the dough is nice and elastic. I'm gonna toss it a few times, sorry if I get flour on you, but
hey,
you're in
man.
the splash zone.
Occupational hazard.
Yeah, so I'll bring it here over to our bread pillow. My grandma actually makes us these custom bread pillows that we still use.
Okay, I love it.
So I put a lot of semolina on there so it doesn't stick. And then now is the fun part where you get to kind of slap the dough down and you put it here.
Boom.
Hopefully you get it on. You gotta try to make it a nice circle. So I put a little oil on because if you don't put oil on it, it will turn into pita bread in the oven.
Oh no.
And so we don't want it to puff up even though it's delicious. It's just a little bit different than what we're going for.
The weight of the olive oil will kind of keep the dough settled a little bit.
Exactly, and then another bonus is it kind of fries it when you flip it, so that's always good.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna put it in the flour for you, and then you take over from there.
All right. A little flour on top. Okay, and then start to sculpt.
Yeah, you want to use the pads of your fingers, okay?
Oh, very
okay.
soft dough. Okay.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, it took us years to get this down. There you go.
All right. So a few flips.
Yep. And you want to remember which side is the face. So this is the face. You want that to go face down on the pillow.
Okay. How's that?
I lost track, but I think it looks good. So face down, okay? And now these are just kind of like pulling bed sheets.
Okay.
So you can kind of just get underneath, and sometimes you want to keep a hand on top.
So we got a pillow. We got some bed sheets.
Yeah.
Are we
That
ready?
loost pretty good for first time.
Way to slam it down.
Yeah. So don't forget the semolina. 'Cause
semolina.
You don't want a sticky peel.
All right. Here we go. Ready?
All right.
1, 2.
Pretty
All
good.
right.
Not bad. You can do any kind of design you want with the olive oil. Just don't go too crazy.
Oh.
Oh, that's all right. We can clean that up.
All right. This is okay.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. That's a disaster, but
all right.
it's gonna work.
You didn't do too bad. We're gonna fire these in the oven. So we're cooking them here at 740, which is pretty hot. And what we're gonna do for the brides, which is a little bit different than a traditional one, is we're gonna flip it halfway. And you can see now it's getting nice and bubbly. That's my signal to let you take a look.
Oh, wow.
Before, what I'm gonna do is flip it so you get the nice sear on the top. We still want a firm bottom, but a soft top. I'm gonna give it just a little rotation, doesn't need too much. I'm gonna give it now a quick flip. I'm not gonna get too fancy here. It's hot. And then quick second on the bottom because those stones are really hot. So again, I'm just gonna watch it. This may be 30 seconds. And whichever one looks nicer is mine, I think.
All right. Hey, Johnny, another
What's up,
member of the
Seth?
family. Nice to meet you.
You too.
So you're going to be topping the Lebanese bride?
Yep, we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna lather this soft, pillowy bread up with some lebanon. I like to explain it as like a yogurt cheese. So it starts out in a yogurt form and then it gets strained to thicken. And then it becomes kind of more like a schmear.
A schmear. All right. Now you're speaking my language. And I have to ask about the name too, Lebanese bride.
So Lebanese bride is introduced to us from our dad. When they used to take summer trips to Lebanon, their first stop would be at this shop to get what was called Lebanese bride. And it's on thinner bread, but same toppings. They wrap it up and they use a white wax paper. And so when you peel back the wax paper, it looks like the veil. And so that's why it's called the Lebanese bride.
Got it, got it.
So we're gonna then douse it with za'atar over top, which is like a key ingredient that pairs perfectly with lebanon. So it's savory, herbaceous, and slightly nutty. So next, after we have the lebanon and za'atar over top, we're gonna Throw some juicy tomatoes right over. And now cucumbers for that crunch element. It's like the best one biter because you get cooling, creamy, refreshing, oily, savory, herbaceous fattiness all in one bite.
Every single bite, love it.
Then comes the garden mint, and we're just gonna sprinkle that right over top. This is a beautiful Tunisian olive oil, velvety, smooth.
And the olive oil, of course, is the other Z in Z&Z. The first one, as you know, is za'atar, and the Arabic word is zayt zaytoun for olive oil. So those are the two Z's, and no manouche is complete without it.
Gonna sprinkle with salt now. Just a little dash. And now we're just gonna slice it up. If my dad was next to me, he'd be watching to make sure it's a perfect cut.
You have my full vote of confidence in how you cut a minutia.
Seth, grab a bride with me and we'll go enjoy.
Let's do it. All right. Oh, and we have more family now. Mom and Dad, world famous.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. I'm gonna give you guys the one that I rolled out, but Johnny did a great job with the toppings and the cutting, right?
Good job. We approve. You did a good job.
Looks good.
Awesome. Oh, I cannot wait to dig in here.
Enjoy.
Wow.
Exactly.
Just a symphony of flavor and a symphony of texture too. Got some of that cucumber, little herbaceous bite there.
My favorite word to use.
That's just delicious.
And in my way, I say it's zaki. Zaki is how you say it in Arabic.
Zaki indeed. Love that. Gotta go in for another.
Oh, yeah.
And the Lebna is good too because it gives you a little bit of that creaminess, that texture on top of the pie. I can understand why some people might even mistake it for pizza, but just completely unique flavors and textures on top.
That makes it not pizza.
Not pizza. Just to be
Not
absolutely
pizza.
clear, not pizza. And you guys kind of initially discouraged them from opening this business, is that right?
It's true because I was in restaurants for a long time, and restaurant life is not easy. So when they came up saying, "Oh, we want to open a restaurant," I said, "No, don't you ever go into a restaurant." But they never listen.
Kids, what can you say?
What can you say? They're kids.
For me as a mom, as an immigrant, I wanted them to be in the corporate world. I want to see them doing something really big. But I am very proud of them now for the hard work they put in and for how far they've come. I'm a proud mama.
And they've made your husband a star too.
Yeah, unfortunately for me.
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge, but doubly rewarding with the family aspect. I mean, our grandfather came to this country, worked really hard, and there's so much of his fingerprints still here, and even the dough mixer we have in the front was used by my grandma. So it's really just such a piece of home here. I think it makes it all mean that much more to us. When we bought this place back, we were able to surprise our entire family with the news, and it was a very emotional homecoming.
So it really is full circle in every respect. Well, I've really enjoyed this journey, going down the line, learning about minutia. So delicious.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth.
To find out more about great food in the Washington metro area, visit weta.org/signature dish.